Welcome to the Poke Tea Time podcast. My name is Shivam, aka NotShivam. This is
me.
Yes, you obviously.
I'm Yizzy Pokemon.
And today we have our special guest, David Lopez. David Lopez, I'm sure most of y'all have heard of him. If you ever had Vine, you probably saw him, like I have. He is our guest of honor today. Honestly, I've watched this guy when I was in high school. I cracked up. It's amazing what you can do in 7 seconds. I'm blown away. I was blown away then, blown away today whenever I see your skits. And honestly, it's just an honor to have you here because obviously you are you're not new to the content creating game. You're definitely not new to Pokemon. I've seen a lot of your older pieces of content before where you have Pokemon in your actual pieces of content. So we're having you here on today because of the fact that you're just, I wouldn't say new to the, would you say you're new to the investing game? As far as
not
Pokemon.
really. I mean, it depends what you consider new.
Okay. So
Pokemon
we got some,
shit. Pokemon, come on. Stick to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon depends what you consider new. I mean, I've only, what is it? Maybe 4 years I started.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a long time then.
Yeah, I don't know what new is because I know some people have been collecting for years and years, but about 4 years ago.
Hey, I say that's vet status. I mean that's considered OG. Were you? But yeah, we
Give
have
us a timeline,
David Lopez here. Huh?
I said, give us a timeline of what's going on. What are we doing today? Why do we have this gentleman here?
Okay. Before we get off into tangents, because we always get on tangents on this podcast.
Hey, that's what podcasts are for, man.
Yeah, man. I keep telling Yizzy that, but he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So this evening on this podcast, we are going to have David Lopez talk about himself, have him tell us how he got into the hobby as far as Pokemon goes. Basically have him tell us about his content, how he incorporates Pokemon into his content if he does do that. Tell us about his family setting as far as Pokemon goes and sort of his collecting goals. And we'll get right into the spicy topic for this evening. And that is, what is it like to come into a space where part of the core Pokemon community is already established and you're here? How do you form relationships and pretty much anything that goes with that?
I hate to stop you there, but shouldn't we get to know him first before?
I just said
look at his face.
I just said introducing him. So
Yeah.
Do I get to know me or you want some Pokemon stuff? I mean,
let's get to know him first. Yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
gonna know him first.
I'm about 5'8", 170.
We're the same.
Yeah, I work out. I could bench about 315.
No way.
I mean, I used to be able to. Now I'm getting older. I can't do that. No, I might. As you get older,
you get that old man strength.
You get the old man strength. You keep the strength.
You keep the strength, but you also realize that your muscles aren't like you could like snap like this, So it's like
joint pain too.
I'm married. I got 2 kids. I don't need to impress anyone, I just do it just to stay in shape, But I used to, But I'm like I said, married, 2 kids. I started on Vine. Some people don't even know me or follow me anymore, but they probably have seen my Vines because they got a lot of views. So started on Vine. It was all for fun. It wasn't like I pursued to do what I do. It was just like, hey, this is an app. It's fun. I'm going to try it. And then I did it. And next thing I knew, I had millions of followers and I was like, this is fun. And I just pursued it. Vine died. RIP. Everybody knows that.
What were you doing before you pursued that path of content creating?
The stickers on the fruit, like you see those stickers on fruit when you buy fruit.
Yeah.
I was putting those stickers on there.
Really?
No.
Come on.
I was like, I've never heard that before.
I always tell people I do that. No, I was in finance. I worked at I worked at the bank for like 8 years. So really, I was just like a normal dude, just doing. I was just a personal banker, opening checking accounts, and then the last 6 months before I quit, I actually transferred to do trucking finance. So just helping truckers like with their finances, which is funny. And then I quit. So I only did that for like 6 months. And then that's when Vine was really taking off. So I was like, I'm out of here. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm a little different than some people, because I was already, a lot of people are getting like famous at like 17, 16, 18. I was like already like 24, 25. So I felt like that was a good thing because I was young. It might have been bad. It might have got all to my head, but I was like, I'm older. I'm established. This is a cool opportunity. So I worked really hard for it.
Ooh, okay.
Right. So like, at what point in your whole like when you were on Vine, at what point were you like, this could actually potentially be something like where you can actually like, because I don't think you could, were you able to monetize on TikTok? I mean, not TikTok, but Vine back then.
No, you never could monetize on Vine. That's probably why it died. Because people were like, why am I posting? I'm going to post on YouTube instead where I can make ads, and Facebook too. I didn't know it. I had no clue about anything. I got like a few million followers. And even at that point, I didn't know that like I can make money off of that. I just thought like, wow, that's pretty cool. I got a few million followers. And then I got a couple brands to reach out to me and they're like, hey, can you make a Vine for our brand? And I was like, you're going to pay me what? For what? I was like, dang, and then within like a couple months, I made my whole year's salary. And then I was like, I think I'm doing the wrong thing, I think I'm going to pursue this, and I wasn't like, I wasn't, here's a side story real quick. I quit my job, like the one that I've had for years. And I had like, my 401k, I transferred everything, all my benefits. I quit it 1 week before I got married. And
wow.
Yeah, my fiance at the time was like, you did what? And I was like, well, job, because nobody knew what was going to happen with social media, nobody. But I was like, I just have a feeling like I feel like I can do this. The money's there. Like I said, I already made my year's salary, so I was like, give me a year, give me a year, like, because I already kind of made my year's salary. So like, if next year nothing comes, I could just try to go get that job. But in general, I was like, I was like, in the profit, so I was like, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah. Right. Like you had that freedom to be able to pursue content creating seriously. That's amazing. Like nowadays it's would you say like today it's more competitive to build a following, or would you say it's just as the same as before? Like
man, it goes both ways, to be honest. I think like too many people are famous, and I also think that it's hard because it's like you get like you're a dime a dozen. Like you get lost if you do the same content. I always tell people if you want to be successful, you do what everyone else wants to do. But if you want to be great, you do something different. Because you could be successful in today's world, but if you just do all the trends and the dances and like everything everybody does, I could see someone getting successful. Not a big deal, but they're not going to stand out. They're not going to be on making a movie, or they're not going to be the ones that are producing and creating for the masses. They're just going to be in the lane, because there's like, for every one person that does that dance that you did, there's millions of others that did the same thing.
Right. Like I always tell people, and I mean, it doesn't have to do with content, but like when it comes to collecting, when it comes to trends or anything like that, I tell people to do the unpopular thing and make it popular. So that kind of,
it's harder, and there's a greater chance that you won't succeed. Right. But if you do that route, you'll be a lot better off than the other route, because I mean, to be honest, like I get tired of seeing the same things. I want to see something different. I want to be entertained. So I think that it's easier to be famous, but it's harder to be like great at something.
Right. I think like when it comes to content, like a lot of us, even myself, like I notice that sometimes like I get complacent with my content, or like sometimes like you're not like those creative juices aren't necessarily flowing, so you revert back to doing something that like kind of was working before. And I think people can get stuck in that. And I It's really tough sometimes. So I can see what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like I used to start trying to post what everyone was to keep up with the trends and be like, oh, I wanna like be like, I don't wanna like lose my engagement or my views. I want like this guy over here's got 5 million now, and what the heck, But I'm like, that's just not me. Like I tried it it's just not me. I'd rather just create what I like to create and really focus on it and really do it. And if I'm successful, then, or like if it works, then that's cool. If it doesn't, then like I will at least know that I didn't like, just blend in with everybody else.
Absolutely. It's so easy to compare yourself to other people.
Yeah. I have no idea. I just do YouTube and open facts.
Yeah. YouTube is hard too. I mean, everything. I think the easiest is TikTok. Obviously, you can get it's easy because there's so many people on there, and I don't understand. Like, if I see the same video, I'm like, that was funny. But if I see it like 10 more times, I'm like, how did I know the punchline? I know exactly what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
like, this is not entertaining to me anymore. At least me personally, I just don't see how someone could watch the same video 10 times and go, ha, ha. Oh, did not see that coming like the 7th time. You're like, dude, it's the same thing. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Makes sense. Dang. You okay?
But that's just me,
You okay, Shiv?
Yeah, I mean, I have a bad habit of, going back to doing the same sort of stuff or like the same punchline. So that's good advice. That's good advice. I'll take that.
I mean, it's not, at the same time, like I say, it's not bad to do that.
I
have friends to do that, but I'll just say, to be honest, in my honest opinion, it's like if you want to break barriers, you're not gonna do it doing the same thing as everyone else. Like, you're not.
What do you have to say as terms of like? I know there's a lot of content creator that like watches my channel. I noticed that like most people that comment and watch are actually people that are inspired to create Pokemon content. Is there any like thing that you see that stand out in Pokemon content, or that you would like to see change up that may help them, or advice that they may want?
I mean, it's a niche. Like, it's if you like Pokemon, you're gonna like that Pokemon content. It's rare to get someone that doesn't like the Pokemon to be like, oh wow, look at this channel, there's Pokemon, I like it. If they don't like Pokemon, they're not gonna watch it. But it could be, you could just add a twist. I always say add a twist. Like, if you make a Pokemon, but there's a lot of comedy behind it, or you know what I'm saying, or something else that can make you stand out. I do like box breaks, especially like the old, like the vintage stuff. I like watching that stuff just because it's it's cool. But when it comes to the content of Pokemon, it's hard because you got to think outside the box if you want to do something different and maybe make it funny. Add a different flavor. Maybe if you're talking about Pokemon, and you're opening boxes, but also maybe made like a funny Pokemon sketch, even a scary Pokemon sketch. I don't know, like anything that maybe it still involves Pokemon, but it like changes the dynamic like of what people are watching.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to sort of bring us back onto who David Lopez is.
Okay, here we go.
Like what got you into Pokemon? Like, take us back to like what was a moment where you fell in love with Pokemon?
Dude, Logan Paul.
Uh-oh.
Nah, just kidding.
He's about to get in a fight with Mayweather.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's entertainment. That's not a fight, You got to know the difference. The Paul brothers are entertainers. They're not fighters, they're great entertainers. Yeah. And they're probably decent fighters, but they're not pro level like that. Yeah. But they are geniuses when it comes to marketing and entertainment.
Right.
But I would say I originally liked Pokemon growing up. I remember I would watch the original show. And I believe that when did that show come out? Do you ever know?
The anime?
The
in English.
In English. Yeah. So I was watching it as it was coming out. Like, I was waiting for new episodes. Like, that's, so I was back then. Oh. And I started obviously getting into the cards because I liked the show. And, you know, I had some good cards like everybody else. I had the first edition Zard and all that stuff. You know, I was just opening packs, but you didn't know what they were worth. Even there, they were worth pretty good, but they weren't like what they are now. And I didn't even know about grading. You know, I had no clue what that was. So I just had like a binder, and I was, you know, collecting. And then, you know, I went through that phase where I got older. And once I was like kind of, you know, in my teens, I was like, Pokemon's kind of for kids, you know? And so I traded all my Pokemon cards for like baseball and basketball and football cards and stuff like that. I know.
But you've always collected though. Like I've seen your collection where you have like you currently have like lots of Pikachu cards, Charizards, and Mews.
Yeah.
But you also collect like superhero based collectibles too as well. So like you've always collected stuff.
Yeah. So then I didn't collect for a while, and then I think maybe 5 years ago, could be a little sooner. I started collecting comic books because I like comic books, and I started, you know, just getting them, and comic books blew up too, just like Pokemon cards. I don't know if people were paying attention to that. And maybe not as crazy, but they went up like crazy too.
Really?
Yeah, like some were like a couple thousand, and they went up to like the 20, 30,000, 100,000. Same thing.
You have comic books that go for millions.
Yeah, and then some of them already went for millions, but like some of those like Hulk 181, like you know, that thing blew up. Lots of comics like Deadpool. Like I had the 9.8, and I got it for like a few $100, and it's in the thousands now. Like they did blow up too. But so I got into comic books, and then I was like, I remember collecting Pokemon cards, you know? And then when Pokemon Go came out, you know, the hype started kind of coming back a little bit, but it just reminded me of the cards. So I slowly just started buying some stuff, you know, like just random cards. I was like, oh, I like that. Like, that's cool. That's cool.
You were buying singles?
I was buying just graded cards. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, what did I buy? Like, just Mewtwo, things like that. Like, and you know, I was like, oh, like, in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, that's cool. You know, they're worth like, I think like a few $100.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, maybe in 20 years they'll be worth like $1,000. Like, I'll just hang on to these, you know, who knows? So I was like, I'll give them to my kids or something.
They're like juggling with them. Yes, that's my card.
And I remember like negotiating for like first editions, like Zapdos, for like, it was in the $1,000, like $1,000 or something, and we were like going back and forth, and I was like, nah, that's too much.
Like a 10.
And I didn't. Yeah, 10 PSA 10. You know, this was before anything. I was just, because I was already collecting comic books, and I was like, I like Pokemon
You're in
and
that realm.
Marvel. Those two are like my favorite things to collect.
Right.
And then you know, I even like, I had a chance. I know it's still a lot of money, but the big one, first edition Charizard, that one, like I almost bought it for like $50K at the time. And I was just like, but that's so much money. Like, I was like, it's an investment. I think like maybe it'll be worth 100,000 in 20 years. Like, hold on to it. You know, in hindsight, I would have bought everything. But I bought, like, just started buying little by little.
Was singles back then? Wasn't the Charizard like a raw? Did you ever look into the raw? Because I heard they were like, you know, $500 for like a raw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was cheap. Everything was, it was still like a lot at the time. You're like, what the, you know, like, is, you know,
like for an unproven market, you know, even cards worth $500 to $1,000, a lot of that stuff is like expensive. Like when I first came into the hobby, it's like, man, this is expensive.
Yeah.
The stuff now is expensive.
Yeah, it was.
Keep sharing.
Like,
I actually like this. I was like
PSA 10 Mewtwo. Like I was negotiating with some dude, and I was like, oh, 1,500 is the most I can do. And he was like, I want 2,000. And I was like, nah. He's like, I think it's gonna go up. I was like, all right, cool. And well, I don't know if he ended up selling, but you know, it definitely went up.
Right.
It was
but
rusty.
you know, yeah. I remember I bought a BGS Pristine 10 Bulbasaur, Shadowless Bulbasaur, from Gary King Pokemon.
King
I think
Pokemon,
yeah. But I didn't even know who he was. It was on his eBay account, and I bought it for like $200. And I was just like, I was just like, I think I made an offer, but I was like, that's cool, Bulbasaur BGS10. He was like, this is the only one in the world, apparently, he said on his post. So I was like, I'll take it, $200. That's a pretty cool thing, you know. But even then, I was like, that's a lot of money for a Pokemon card. And then, obviously things changed. So, it was just for fun and just collecting, and then it was for investment kind of, but not the investment that I thought it would be. I thought I'm thinking 20 years,
Right. Like you sort of have like the same sort of collecting / investing approach that I have, which I do like, which I've noticed like in our conversations, as far as like we're looking at cards, we're looking at population, we're looking at art, but you always go to the cards that obviously mean something to you, as well as the artwork that means a lot to you as well. It's not necessarily always about the sheer value, because like I'll say something and then you'll pick the other one over something, whether it's in regards to like numbers, like okay, like like this is the population, this is how hard it is to grade, and then you'll pick the one that you just like the most. I like that. If
I like a card, if I really like it, I want that one.
Right.
Like if I really like that Mew, the Southern Islands Mew.
Yeah. The one you are talking about. I'm wondering. Yeah. I'm out of the loop right now.
He's all about it.
He was all about it. Get the Koro, right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. He said, get that one in the PSA 10. And I was like, I like the Southern Island one. Like it was a PSA 10 too. I was like, I like the way it looks, the way better.
You got that Pidgey on the side or whatever?
Yeah, and then I ended up getting it. Had the Charizard's wing, It was the Japanese reverse hollow one. I thought it was a cool looking card.
I mean, it is a solid set. I mean, it's very difficult to get PSA 10s in for the entirety of the reverse hollows for Southern Island. So, I mean, either way, either one, I think is a solid, buy, as far as that goes, because I'm always about vintage, and they're two beautiful works of art, honestly.
Yeah. So I ended up getting both, but.
It's like, which one would you like? Yes,
but I got the Southern Islands one first, because I liked it, and then later down the road I got I sold a lot of the original cards that I got because they went up in value. And then, because at the time I was just buying like sporadically, like I wasn't like I was just like, I like that one, that one's cool, here's a Charizard, here's a Mewtwo, and I was just collecting,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when everything like started getting more popular, I was like, I want to like get the ones that I want. And then I sold some of them and bought some new ones, and I kept some, but like I did a lot of moving around.
Right. Yeah. Like there's nothing wrong with selling stuff. Like we had the Pokechew on the podcast a few months ago. We actually spoke about you on the podcast when we had him, and one of the biggest things that we talked about is like sometimes in order to be able to grow your collection, you have to make actual sacrifices. Not everyone is made out of money, and if you had all the money in the world, you'd be able to buy everything. But sometimes to be able to grow your own collection, you have to make sacrifices. You have to buy and sell, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, because some cards you just don't want to let go of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But, throughout our conversations with like when it came to Pokemon, I noticed that you do a lot of box breaks with your son. His name is Knightley, right?
Yeah.
You guys do box breaks together. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us, because like every single time I see him open up packs, it's just awesome. Because even with the commons and uncommons, he loves those. And I think that's absolutely awesome. So like, tell us about that. What that means to you as a father, and doing something and introducing that hobby and that passion that you have to your son.
Well, he is super obsessed with Pokemon, like I used to be. But the difference is, when I grew up, my mom thought Pokemon was of the devil. That's another reason she stopped. Like I couldn't watch the show anymore, because I guess honestly, I think some like kid. I think it was some kid in Mexico, like was like sacrificed something to the Pokemon or something. Like it was all over the Spanish news, like Telemundo and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was in more Spanish, like because it was Mexican and stuff. So my mom watches Telemundo, and she was like, "Oh man, like this kid in Mexico, like sacrificing the Pokemon. Get rid of those. This is the devil's cards." And so I was like, "Oh man, old school mom." And then my son is obsessed, and he is like me, like he has like probably like 20 Pokemon stuffies. Like he's just always playing. He likes to play Pokemon Imagination battles. Like he's like, Dad, let's battle in our imagination right now. I'm like, all right, but he always wins because he's like, you go first. I'm like, what, like, okay. I was like, I'll pick, Charizard. He's like, Mega Charizard. And I'm like, dang. I was like, or I'll say, he'll go with the weakness. I'd be like, all right, I'll pick Charizard. He's like, I pick Mega Blastoise. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, it was like, you go first. He's like,
you can never win.
No matter who.
How old is he?
He's 5 years old.
Okay, so he knows at that point.
Oh, he knows weaknesses, what's weak against what. He knows which one's like the most powerful ones, legendary. When we were doing the opening the packs, like, cause I'm old school, so I'm like the 151. I'm the original Pokemon. Like that's what I remember. So when I'm opening these modern packs and there's these like some I don't even know, he'll be like, Dad, that's this. Like, you should know this. And I'm like, I don't know. He knows more Pokemon than I do, to be honest.
It's funny because, like, when I do watch those videos, he'll, like, snap back and he'll say, that's that. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. He will know the more modern ones. And even, like, because I know one time I opened something, someone's like, those aren't modern. Those are, like, from a few years ago. I was like, I still wasn't collecting those. Like, I still wasn't. I don't watch the show anymore, Right. I know the old show. I just know the original. But he loves it, obsessed, always wants to open Pokemon cards. I have his own little collection going on. But he likes them all, he doesn't care if they're hollow, non-hollow, rare, whatever. He's just like, oh, dude, this is, Stakataka or whatever. He's like, this, I want this one. I saw this on the show,
You have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raylan, she's 3. And she loves Pokemon too. Like, not as obsessed because I think she's a little younger, but she has her stuffies. She watches a show. They pretend they have their Pokemon battles, and stuff like that.
What is? Oh, sorry to cut you off, but like, what does your mom now think of all of this? Like, obviously, like, you're very public about Pokemon. So like, what does she think about that now?
I don't really talk to her about it, but I bet if I asked her directly, she'd be like, "Oh my goodness,
not this again!
I can't believe you. You're worshiping the devil."
Knows me all.
So like literally, like tongue out of the face or something. Nah, she would not approve, to be honest.
Right? Yeah.
She wouldn't. I know her, but she just she saw that on the news and she can't let go. But in our family, I have vintage. I have a lot of modern, like, stuff, like sealed boxes. I guess more modern is like the XY era. Even though that's still, like, not now, but still, like, close enough to be modern, I think, like, But, so the modern stuff is because my son likes it. But the vintage stuff, we both like the vintage stuff, He's... Right.
Do you guys have like your two, like, do you have your own separate collection and he has his own separate collection, or do you guys have like a collection all together?
We have pretty much separate collections right now. He tries to.
Can I have your first edition base set Charizard for this Stakataka?
He definitely tries to grab the cards on the wall. And then anytime anyone comes over, he's like, I gotta show you my dad's Pokemon collection. Let's go upstairs. And like brings people up here and like shows it to them. Like if it's like it's like, oh, let me show you what my dad has, It's
like, my dad has a better Pokemon collection than your dad.
They might not even like Pokemon, but he's like, come on upstairs.
That's awesome. That's
you don't show the cards anymore. He's like, look at my dad's cool motorcycle. It's like, look at my dad's Charizard and base set packs.
But he is just probably more obsessed than I am, but just there. So that's really cool. I mean, it just shows me that the hobby is in good hands, and it's gonna be around a while because this generation loves it. You know?
Yeah.
So you know, me and Shiv, we're listening to this, and we're like, that's like us in a few years, you know, because we're gonna throw Pokemon on our kids, and hopefully they like it.
Hey, nah, man, I ain't having kids anytime soon, man.
Okay, well, I'll speak for me then. How does your wife feel? Like, is she into it also, or is she just like,
no,
let y'all do your thing?
She didn't like it at first. Because she's like, you're too obsessed with it, you know. When I was buying them, and I was like, if you let me be more obsessed with it, I would have bought some nice cards. Another reason why I wouldn't buy is because she'd be like, don't waste your money on that $2,000, you know.
Did you let her open the pack though? Like, has she ever opened the pack?
No, she's not like a fan. I mean, she doesn't hate it, but she's not like a fan, so she doesn't care. Like, but you know, if I almost bought more cards, but she'd be like, "Don't do that. Don't. That's." I was like, "It's an investment, but don't spend all your money. Invest in like something else." I'm like, "All right," but
like
you know, yeah, like no, Doge.
Oh my
God. Been around, but that was back then, like 4 years ago. That's when I first started buying. I would have bought a lot more because I have that kind of personality. When I like something, I'm just going for it. I don't care.
Yeah, you're all in. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so I was gonna go all in, but she kind of held me back there. But then, as I, you know, nowadays she doesn't even care. She's like, okay, you know, it's. I obviously know that how much they're worth, and you know how much our son loves them, because she was like, oh, I don't like him watching Pokemon because he's a wild boy, you know. He thinks he's Charizard, you know. He's doing Fire Blast, you know, at dinner time. He's like flamethrower, and you're like, dude, relax, you know, don't do that, you know.
That's how we were when we were kids. Like I pretended that I was a dinosaur, so it's close enough.
Yeah, no, he's just like that. You know, he'll grab a ball and he'll be like, Dragon Pulse or something, and like chuck it at one of us.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, all right. And I try to tell him, hey, man, like, it's cool. Like, that's fun. But try to keep it down or mom's not going to let you watch another.
Because like, keep it down because we won't be able to collect Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, because she's like, it makes him act crazy, you know, but it's true. Kids, like, they're really, impersonable. So like he watches that and then he wants to be that, and then he wants to throw stuff and flamethrower and water gun. So I try to calm him down. I'm like the other side. I'm like, hey, like, I want to keep watching with you, but if you're throwing, you know, a ball at Sissy and saying flamethrower, it's not gonna fly around here, you know. And so he calms down so he's like, okay, I want to keep watching. I was like, if you want to be Charizard, go throw it at that fence over there. Go get the ball and throw it as hard as you can and be Charizard over there. I was like, but you got to not throw at people.
Yeah. So I wanted to go ahead and segue into our next topic. So obviously you like collecting, right? And you see this sort of like an investment. To be completely honest with you, I forgot what our rundown was as far as our second topic goes. So I'm just being spontaneous with it because we're having such a good time here.
You know?
Yeah.
Focus.
So
focus, Shiv. Focus.
So essentially, like, obviously you collect, but you also take this as a sort of an investment. So where do you see the hobby right now? Because Yizzy and I, we were just having a conversation earlier, and he thinks, you know, as far as content goes, content's kind of going back to pack openings. You can see that going back towards that. But as far as the actual market goes, we've seen a lot of stuff retrace. You know, we've seen prices go up. Obviously myself and many others, we bought cards even at peak prices, even on the runway up to prices. You know, we saw that. So where do you see yourself right now? Do you see yourself still buying more and more Pokemon? Do you see yourself sort of taking a relaxed approach right now because we're in this sort of bearish? I wouldn't even say bearish. Like, we're growing sideways at the moment. We haven't really gone down completely. Like, we're holding at this specific resistance level as far as Pokemon goes. So we really are right now in a buyer's market, so to speak. Like, we're seeing pretty good prices as far as first edition Shadowless Charizards go. Like, you can buy one right now, like a PSA 7 between $7,000 to $8,000. You know, 9s are going for $31,000. So, yeah, like, where do you see yourself right now? Where do you see the overall state of the actual investment side of Pokemon?
I think it's in what's it called? A more of a like knowledgeable state. Like I think it's more of a the people now are approaching it differently than before, because before it was like a bull run, like everybody's just, I don't care, I'm buying Pokemon,
right?
And I think now it's more of a like people are actually doing their research, but that's why I think like the base set in the first edition and all that stuff blew up for a while. But then they started to realize like there's a lot more than just this first edition stuff, you know? And that's why I think like the base set in first edition, the prices kind of started going down because people, they like that, but then they're looking at this other stuff now. They're like, oh, you know, gold stars, or, you know, oh, you know, what is this? The shining, you know, Charizard, stuff like that. They're finding out like the popularity, the population.
I didn't really think of that. Yeah.
They're just like, it's kind of like with crypto, you know, Bitcoin is popping off. Everybody's buying it, but then Bitcoin starts to kind of like even out or kind of go down a little bit, and all the altcoins start going up because people are like, wait, there's more than Bitcoin, you know?
Right.
There's all these
people realize that when you make more riskier investments, you have that opportunity to basically have a higher profit margin. But like what you're saying is something that I didn't even really consider, right? Like we saw prices go down for, I mean, obviously base set unlimited is truly unlimited. There's such a huge population as far as base set goes. Like once everyone saw that, everyone wanted to get that stuff sent off. Like I even saw a video on PokeRev's stream of one guy literally sending off 118 base, like just showing 118 base set Charizards.
Was it United Kingdom in the UK? Was that him?
Yeah, they had like all those cards. Yeah.
I wonder if he got it back yet. Very curious, because the way he was shuffling them, I was like, oh my god, because they were like not sleeved, and he's like, check out my collection, and just like shuffling through it. But
I mean, he could have been pretty delicate with it. You never know, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I know that was a lot of cards. That was a lot of cards.
So like essentially like what you're saying is that because of where that initial interest for base set was, that probably introduced a lot of people to the overall side of Pokemon. And then they started getting more educated on Pokemon. And so they started looking at Gold Stars. They started looking at Neo Destiny Shining. And that sort of makes sense because those, I mean, like when you look at the Neo series as far as Shining Pokemon goes, that's sort of retaining a little bit of its value there. And so is Gold Stars. Gold Stars are retaining its value relatively well in this current market. So
those type of things I've noticed, like even my like Pikachu, like I said, just like a month ago, someone offered me like 9,000 Bitcoin for it, you know, and I was gonna take it.
You said 9,000 in Bitcoin, like $9,000 in Bitcoin.
$9,000 in Bitcoin, yeah.
Wow.
And I was gonna take it, but then I was like, I like it too much, you know.
Was that when you DM me? It's like, hey, would you rather take Bitcoin?
Yeah, it was such a choice because I like crypto too.
Yeah,
but I kept the card, even though, you know, just because I was like, I still think though, I don't know if you know, base set and first editions can go up again, you know, it just, they can vary, but I really do think that a lot of these other cards are kind of like still, you know, in the baby stage, undervalued for the general public. Like not everybody knows about them. So I think that that's what's happening, is the money's trickling to the other sets that people, like you said, like you know, these Gold Stars and these Neo Destiny, like they're holding their value, or at least staying there, or some of them are going up, you know, some of them.
I mean, the unlimited stuff has gone down. Like my PSA 10 unlimited Shining Charizard is like what now, like $4,000, where at peak was like 14. So it is a huge retrace, but like when we talk about like overall first edition stuff, like first edition Shadowless Charizard is still maintaining its value at PSA 10. First edition Neo Genesis Lugia is still maintaining its value. So I think like with the conjunction of sheer rarity, not absolute rarity, because absolute rarity would imply that there's an exact amount of cards as far as the population goes. But as far as sheer rarity and difficulty to grade and overall demand of some of these cards, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, these cards are still growing in value.
Yeah, and also like you get to see like a lot of these old school cards because a lot of the base set and first edition were like old school, like old certificates and stuff. And people kind of notice like when they're starting to be like a week or 10, you know, they're starting to take notice like, yeah, this doesn't look like a normal 10 to me, you know. So I think like that one Charizard they just sold recently, I think it was maybe 350 it went for.
Yeah. Buy it now.
Was it 350?
350K.
Yeah, and that was low, but you look at the card and you're like, dude, that's like an 8 or less, you know, like it's
yeah. So the one that sold for 250,000 was basically an 8 or a 9. A lot of people were being harsh on the centering, but there was another 10 that sold, which was a true 10, sold for 350K, which is exactly what the market is as far as that value goes.
Yeah.
Currently speaking, the cards are still undervalued. It's just that it's kind of difficult to really see. I mean, obviously this is an entire speculative market like Bitcoin or any sort of cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
But
you never know. You never know. It could all be worth nothing, but it could be in 20 years. Like I say, you never know. I'm still on the 20-year route, you know. In 20 years, you never know, you know. What things are going to be worth.
Yeah, because this market's powered by nostalgia at the end of the day, unlike other currencies or other investments, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and also you have to understand like the people in this era, like when Pokemon started popping off, a lot of these kids in 20 years or so will be the ones that have the money. Yeah. You know, so they're going to be the ones that are going to be like, I remember this. Yeah. I want this.
It's a vicious cycle Pokemon has created.
Yeah. So it's always going to be nostalgia. There's no doubt in my mind my son's going to be like, oh, I remember we used to open XY evolutions, and I remember we used to open, you know, that's their base set. That's their nostalgia. And so, and then if those cards obviously are going to be hunted, then all these vintage stuff, you know, is going to be, and it could still be in a different, really good place, you know?
So like, have you ever had your son nightly look at like, you know, one of your more expensive Charizard cards versus like a modern Charizard card and ever like asked him like which one would he choose?
He wants the modern one.
Really? That's so interesting because like something fell behind you, Yizzy. I think you have a ghost there, buddy. But
did y'all hear that?
It's so interesting.
Rainbow rare Charizard. If I showed him my you know, I don't know.
Flex time.
My Charizard, you know, my Japanese the original base set Charizard.
Yeah.
In a rainbow rare Charizard, he would want the rainbow rare Charizard.
That's crazy. That's so awesome. Do you think that's sort of you know, obviously like he's gonna be nostalgic when he gets older, but let's say he does take this route like you are as far as investing / collecting goes. Do you see that he might, as he grows older, do you see him having more appreciation for a lot of the older stuff?
He might, because of me. You know, like if he obviously
like learns about, because like I see kids today, right? And I see some of them post on TikTok, right, who have pretty decent collections, and I see some of them, you know, Yizzy was talking to me about one of them on Instagram who has a crazier card collection than me and Yizzy. You know, like this guy's doing deals. He's been doing this for years now. Like his parents are okay with him doing it. Like even today when you look at the whole,
like an Acura, like I think it was like a $30,000-$40,000 car, but that's crazy to purchase a car right when you turn 16 without like having some type of like, I guess, social media platform or sponsorship. It's just off of his own grind.
Off his own grind. And so like when I look at kids who do sneakers, right, like some of these kids weren't even born when a lot of these, you know, high-end sneakers came out, but they grow to have this appreciation even though they weren't really born in that era. It's like people our age, like my age, right, who have appreciation over like 80s music, even though I wasn't born in the 80s. I was born in the 90s.
Yeah, everybody love the old school nostalgia. It like comes back. Like even comic books, I didn't even know comic books back when I was young. But when I got older, and then I started watching the Marvel films and all that, I was like, dude, I want these comic books. You know, like Like, that's cool. I'd never collected comic books when I was young. I didn't even read the comics when I was young. I started collecting comics when I was like 5 years ago, mostly based on they were older. That's so cool. I love pieces of history. I like, stuff like that in general. And, I was collecting everything. I think he'll end up liking mostly everything. But dude, I had I sold some stuff I shouldn't have sold,
Hey, it's a live and learn sort of thing,
I had a Michael Jordan rookie card, LeBron James rookie card, Kobe Bryant rookie card. Yeah, and I sold them too soon. I sold them to get Pokemon cards, because I was like,
kind of.
Yeah. So it's kind of because that I bought them for like thousands, and they went to the 50s to thousands,
Yeah.
Because they were the PSA 10, so. I was like, dang, I should have held on to it. And I had like the Luka Doncic rookie PSA 10. Dude, I bought that for like $200-$300, and
that's an expensive card now.
It was like 4,000 when I sold it, and probably worth more now. But I was like, oh, sweet. I could sell this, and then I could buy my, gold star this, like I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
So I sold that stuff to get some of my like gold stars and stuff.
Which one do you like more? Do you like Pokemon cards more, or do you like sports cards more?
I like Pokemon cards more. Well, I say that, like, unfortunately, like Luka and Zion, their cards are worth a lot right now, which is cool. Yeah. But it's, God forbid they get injured, it's not gonna be good. But Charizard, he's not gonna be injured.
He's not gonna tear an ACL.
He's not. He's not gonna break a leg. He's not gonna like miss the playoffs for 10 years in a row. He's already established. Yeah. So
he's an alpha in Pokemon. Yeah, big dog in the house.
Do you when you look at a lot of these vintage cards, let's say an illustrated like a Charizard illustrated by Mitsuhiro Rita, the base set Charizard. Do you equate that like card to, when you see that when you compare that to fine art, do you consider that fine art?
Yeah, I mean, I would for some of these like older vintage ones. I would say that's like the art behind it is also plays a huge role in the way, you see it. Like, that's such a sick card. Like, it's just such a beautiful card. So yeah, I would consider it, because that's the thing about Pokemon is it's got the nostalgia. You can collect it as art. You can collect it as as an investment because it's such a low pop. Like the one that we have, like the Charizard vs Lugia, that's probably one of my favorite cards.
The Meiji.
Yeah. So I have the.
See, look at that, Shiv. I told Shiv to. Never mind.
Yeah, I had, I saw his, and I was like, I gotta get the PSA 10 in that baby, And
he got the PSA 10 almost immediately. I'm like, hell
the
yeah.
dual color ones.
Yeah, I think he got the red one.
I got the red. The purple one, there's only two apparently.
Yeah, there's only a pop 2.
And the dude was asking too much money, but I was like, dude, the red one's like pretty similar. It's pop 7, I think.
It's just one color.
Yeah, and it's the same card, just the color's a little different. And in that case, it was just, it was, the price was too. I think they were asking for.
Yeah. I told him he was asking too much for what it was at.
But that's like one of the coolest cards,
Yeah.
I think it's a sick card. Like, I see it, I'm like, dude, that is a really cool card. Yeah. That's like one of my son's favorite cards too, because it's not like the old school. It's like they like the art, like
the full art aspect of it.
They like it when it's like, oh, that's so cool. He's battling Lugia and Charizard. That's like epic. Like everything about that card is cool.
Yeah. So like the only reason why I asked that is because like we're in this time where Pokemon is growing sideways. Some people think it's bearish. Some people think like the bubble has popped. Like when you say that. And I agree with the same thing. Like, I think Pokemon is fine art. Like when you have millions of people around the world who hang imaginary creatures on their wall or on their or anywhere really, and they consider it fine art. So like in the future, like I can totally see some of this stuff, like the most rare cards being the same price as actual fine art, right? Like we see sports cards right now going for millions of dollars, but I truly do think that in the future that. Like, let's say we get to the 50th anniversary. Let's say Pokemon does die down. Like, God forbid that happens. But I mean, like, even then, like myself as a 51-year-old man, with all this stuff that's here, and more money and more security in my own life, I would not be surprised to see, a Charizard or a Pikachu illustrated card being worth millions of dollars. Like,
Yeah, I
SM
think
Pratt
so.
has this Pikachu illustrated card listed for $3 million on eBay. So I mean, like, I think we're getting there. I just don't know how long.
Yeah, and it's those particular, the rarer, the cards, low pop. I would say to people, which you might have heard it, I always say, high pop, low pop, like high popularity, low population is the way you want to go. So the high pop, low pop, that's how I look at things. So if it's like a Charizard, Charizard's so popular, then I really look for his low population cards. Pikachu, Mewtwo, Mew. But they were all my favorite Pokemon anyways. I don't have any modern Pokemons myself. Like, I don't have any. I have everything that Lugia is the newest Pokemon that I have.
Yeah.
That's modern for me. That's like, okay, I'll accept Lugia because it's pretty sick. But other than that, I don't have any of these more modern cards, except my son does. He has all the.
Yeah. I mean, you do have that reverse hollow XY Pikachu right there.
One,
Yes, yeah.
My son likes that one. See,
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you. He's like, he likes that more than the Gold Star.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Man,
So
part
the
of me
Gold
wished
Star-
when I went back, I would have just gone all vintage because that's what really brought me back to vintage. But then it just seemed more attainable and like the nostalgia of actually opening packs, like what excited me. So
Yeah, that's what consumes a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, it's just reopening, living those memories, opening those packs. That's what got everyone. But I think it could go a little bit low for a while, these cards and stuff like that. But if anything that I've ever learned, and all the investments that I've ever made, just hold.
Yeah, just be patient.
Yeah, like
I can't remember who said this. So we can sort of wrap this up here. I remember someone saying this. I can't remember exactly who said it, but the highest, in terms of investing, the highest performing portfolios belong to dead people, because they're not touching anything. They're not. You want to talk about diamond hands? The diamond hands, like these are portfolios that go on to their children, or their children don't really touch it as much. They just let it still perform. Like actual stock portfolios that have been handed down, or any sort of investment portfolios that have been handed down. Those are the best performing portfolios because nothing's being traded. Now, I've taken a step upon myself by not selling the actual investment pieces that I have, but even buying more, like doubling down into things that I truly like, and then sticking with it, not selling.
Yeah. It's I've like, unless you need to, I understand. Like some people might be in that like stuff for life. They're like, oh man, my bathroom everything got flooded. I need to sell something to fix this whole bathroom and the floor. Like, I understand stuff like that. I see that like online sometimes, like, oh, gotta sell my prize box because our kitchen got destroyed by something, or so I understand. Or you need a new car, their car broke down. They're like, well, I gotta do this. Like, this is just the way it is. I understand stuff like that. But if you don't need to, like, if you're in a place where you don't need to sell, just hold it. No, there's no reason why you would want to sell if you don't need to. It's you never know. And from my experience, there's not been one thing at all that I had ended up selling that did not go up in value later on.
Right.
Are those things you're talking about? This is such a tangent, and I know Shiv's like, you hate tangents, but are those things you're talking about you see on Facebook when they're trying to sell stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then you see the same guy later. Oh, my wife's pregnant. I need to sell this too. And I'm always like, you always have an excuse, man. There's a repetition to you, man.
Oh, who's that? You do see those people. But I just have learned that I think anything, when I started collecting and investing 5 years ago, whether it be real estate, crypto, stocks, everything that I have ever sold, I can look at it now and it's worth more.
Yeah, that's
So I'm like, and I didn't need to sell, and I did. That I didn't need to, and I actually sold a lot because I'd be like, I got it. I'm gonna sell it. Like I made a little bit of money. Like I'm not gonna hold. And then next thing I know, like I'm like, dude, if I just would have held on to that, I'd be retired.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good stopping point as far as all this goes. I think we covered, a pretty solid, decent amount of topics. I feel like we got to know David Lopez for a good bit. I know we've been trying to get you on the podcast a few times, and Yizzy over here slacking off each time. And
you had a soccer game, right? A soccer.
Yeah, we lost. Check this out. We lost to that team 0-6, and then the net 0-6.
Dude, that's not a soccer game.
Yeah, and then we played that next following week. We played the team that beat them, which is the first place team. They were the last place team. We lost to the last place team 0-6, and the week before, that last place team that beat us lost to the first place team 1-12.
Yeah, I totally follow.
What are you playing, like in a rec league, or are you in college or what?
No, it's an adult league. It's an adult league. I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I played a couple adult leagues in soccer and stuff, and basketball and stuff.
Right.
So it varies because then one week the worst team, all their best players finally show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang, you're like you just half these guys weren't even here last week.
What the heck?
So just to sort of start wrapping this up, we can't thank you enough for joining the podcast. Obviously, for those guys who are listening on Spotify, make sure you are following this on the YouTube channel. We did move our YouTube channel to the PokeG Time YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Make sure you follow David Lopez at DavidLopezFilms on Instagram. He's on YouTube. He is on TikTok. He is the comedian. Make sure you follow myself and Yizzy on our social medias. As far as our sponsorship goes, we are sponsored by TCG Stadium. TCG Stadium is a website that sells Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And their whole mission is to be able to provide products so that way your friends and family can enjoy their. Honestly, I do like their statement on their page. They give great discounts on that page all the time. I know they have Battle Styles at a discounted rate right now as far as their ETBs go.
Yizzy? $35, $34.99.
Yeah, $34.99. Yeah, and that's a steal. So for those of you guys who are struggling to get Pokemon products still, make sure you definitely visit that website. I mean, I think they're great. Jarvis Johnson, our last episode, definitely, not our last one, but the episode before, gave them an amazing review on their website as well. David Lopez, tell us if do you have any projects that are coming up? Definitely plug yourself. I mean, obviously, I know you're a busy man, and you're always working on, high quality projects. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on.
I got like some good comedy sketches I shot this last week. So I got some newer stuff coming out. I kind of like took a break for a little bit because it was like, it gets overwhelming. You need your mind to relax. People don't understand. Someone like me, I've been doing this since 2013. So you're talking thousands and thousands of ideas.
Right.
And my ideas are normally original. So it's not like it takes a toll on the brain, So I was like, man, I got to relax because I was pushed. My mind was just being overworked and I was caring too much about social media than like what I need to do to post every day and all that good stuff. And I'm like,
it's kind of hectic. I can see. I mean, that happens with everyone. I mean, I think, I saw your post about, how, you being a slave to the algorithm and having to post so many times can sometimes ruin the overall quality of your actual pieces of content. So sometimes, actually taking a step back is necessary and being able to focus on producing the best content to your ability and what you truly enjoy. And when you want to be able to post is an amazing thing. So I did like that post.
And unfortunately, I'm not like, the most beautiful person in the world. So, I think, If you're a good-looking person, then you can get away with posting 3 selfies a day and getting all those likes. I'm sorry, but like, if you're someone like me who's not like, who has that appeal, I gotta make really good content, like comedy sketches that are like really well produced. If I post 3 selfies in a day, my engagement's going down. They're like, we don't want to see your face. We want to see you do something.
Yeah, make us laugh.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm like. Some influencers can do it, I think like models that were models and now they're influencers, they could really pull it off. Like they got the really good looking features, I'm just me, so I can't go down that route, I got to really produce, that works for some people, doesn't work for me. So I got to sit down and I'll be like, I don't care about the algorithm anymore. I'm going to make something really good. And when it's ready, I'll post it. Like I think recently I've been doing that. Like I haven't posted something really new in a couple of weeks. I think like a really, really new comedy sketch because I was really focused on filming some good ones, really focused on getting the edits right, perfecting it. And then we're going to finally start posting stuff. So, and it, if the algorithm, bears me, then the algorithm can die.
Yeah. What's gonna be the punchline? Die.
That's the punchline.
The algorithm can burn. Light a match the algorithm and watch it burn. No, the algorithm's hard. Even for anybody, it's hard to. They want you to post more.
Yeah.
They want you to post every day and post more and
big facts.
Yeah.
That's not.
Guys, definitely follow David Lopez. Make sure, again, you are following all of us on the social medias. Make sure you give David Lopez your full attention by following him on his social medias. We're typically speaking, David, we do this special. I don't think we did this with Laura, right? We didn't do the whole sips up.
We did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, so typically speaking, whenever we sign off, we do our special sign off as far as the podcast goes. So it goes like you have your teacup, you sips up, and then you deuces, and then you salute out. So we'll run it together for one time for a practice. So
did I do it right?
Up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sips up.
Deuces.
And we're out. So let's do it again.
Okay. Ready? Is this it? Is this it?
This is it.
Wait. I'm too nervous. My wife's gonna walk in. She's gonna see me like this.
No, you gotta.
What are you guys talking about?
Sips
Am
up.
I doing it right?
Sips up. Deuces.
And we're out.
See you guys. Thank you.
There it is.
Thank you so much, David, for joining us. We hope to have you on in the future. As far as the podcast goes, we I enjoy your company. I enjoy our conversations on our DM. So again, thank you so much for taking the time.
All right. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. See you later, guys.